Okay, getting ready for round 3 with this blue splash Karn list. If we could keep getting paired up against Hammer with Karn Amulet and having our opponents concede on turn 1, that would bode well for how we'll do this league. Um, yeah, I'll keep this. What do I want to bottom? Maybe Elder? It's a nice turn 2 play, but I think I want to go turn 1 map. I need the map to get the bounce land. I need the 2 lands to crack the map. I want the amulet. I think I want the Dryad. Is there any reason I would not keep the Dryad? So let's see, what could my sequence be if I bottom the Dryad? I could go turn 1, land, amulet, turn 2, Elder, crack Elder, get forest, turn 3 map. That seems like a bad sequence. Yeah, I'll bottom Elder. You know, I was pretty sure from the start I wanted to bottom Elder, but it never hurts you to like think through how things would sequence out. Saga. Yeah, I'll play the Saga. I think getting double amulet means we can do more fun things with the Karn. Opponent's leaving up counter magic, so I'll probably just Cavern on Nymph. Might even bounce the Saga. Could bounce the Cavern too. Or just leave it in play. I guess it depends on my draw. What's my draw? Okay, so I think I'll just Cavern on Nymph and go ahead and just play the Dryad and pass. I like leaving the Cavern on Nymph in play because I have the second Dryad that I want to play. And next turn I can make quite a bit of mana with which I can cast a second Dryad. I can potentially cast Karn as well. So maybe Rhinos here might be what I'm looking at. I think this hand's pretty well set up if this is Rhinos. We get to drop our hand and explosives on 0. Glad they used that force on an amulet and not on the Karn. They might have something like a Fury, which would pretty efficiently answer our Karn. That would be sad, but we'd still be in a position where if we draw a Primeval Titan, we're pretty well set up. Suppose all other things being equal, I'll probably just make a giant walking ballista next turn. So if we draw like just a nothing. Stomp. Okay. I think the plan is now make the world's biggest walking ballista, unless my opponent has, say, a fire for the Karn. Or another Stomp or Fury. Fury hitting Azusa Karn would be pretty bad for us here, especially since I could cast it. Another Stomp, okay. Well, we are in need to draw threat territory, but don't necessarily think that's a bad position. Don't particularly see a reason to play out either of these bounce lands. Maybe I'm supposed to pick up the Beseiju. If my opponent end of turn does a violent outburst, I might want to double block Dryads on a Rhino and Beseiju the Shardless Agent just to keep my life total high. Also protects against, like, if they randomly had a main deck Blood Moon. Okay. Yeah, so I think the plan is if they attack, I'm going to double block a Rhino. Should considerably lengthen the clock. They're going to have a hard time attacking profitably with Shardless Agents or Bone Crusher, because we can double block Dryad Azusa on a Bone Crusher. Violent Outburst. Okay. That's a good draw. We still kill one Rhino. We're still in the territory where if we draw a threat, we're probably pretty well set. Though Karn is a little less exciting than it was previously. Grazer. Suppose I'm supposed to play out the Grazer. I think I'll block Azusa Grazer on one of the Rhinos. Makes things a little worse if we draw Karn, but a little bit potentially longer survival otherwise. Another violent outburst. Okay, so we need to draw a Titan, I guess. Or we lose. It's probably one too many violent outbursts for us to deal with without drawing a Titan. So how do we feel about this matchup? I think I like the Beseijus and the Forces to deal with Blood Moon. I don't know if this is a Hydroid Krasis matchup. I kind of like Karn. It's good under Blood Moon. It's good to grab engineered explosives. We could go down on Karns, though. We could try and play it like a non-Karn. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut map so that Karn can grab map for either basic forest or Beseiju. I'm going to cut Bajuka Bog. And I'm going to trim a Saga due to force and just generally like Blood Moon effects making Saga worse. I think I'll submit like this. Keep. Not the most exciting hand, but lots of potential. It makes 6 mana on turn 3, and it does have a Titan, but it doesn't have a way to transmute right now, so we're going to need to draw some form of ramp or a Titan. We're also quite weak to Force of Vigor, but in a way that I don't think can realistically be helped. Sakura Tribe Elder. I think I'll just Vesuva on Saga for this turn. I think this is a situation where Explore would be better because we could potentially, with double Amulet, make 2 blue off Talaria West and then use the extra land drop to play a bounce land, bouncing the Talaria West, allowing for a transmute. And just generally with the double Amulet, I think the Explore would be better. Also draws us towards threats. Beseiju. Okay. Well, that's a good draw. Suppose I'll play Lair of the Hydra and Sakura Tribe Elder. If my opponent does decide to Blood Moan here, we can play the Celestia Sanctuary and then hardcast a Force. Guess there was no reason to sack the Elder end a turn because of amulets. Little sequencing thing that I'm going to have to get used to, I suppose. Is this Force? Guess this is a better play against Blood Moon. We're actually kind of weirdly hoping our opponent Blood Moons us here. They're probably going to just Violent Outburst, though. Well, this is much better for us than a Violent Outburst. Brazen Borrower, I can take that clock. Important to keep in mind we can't gain life. We have no Radiant Fountain, so we have to be careful about that. Shardless. Okay. Definitely playing Primeval Titan. I think I'm gonna get, I definitely get Radiant Fountain if I could. I'll get Crumbling Vestige and Valakut, I suppose. I'd rather have the Bounce Land in hand. I just want the Grazer for extra blocking, especially if there's like an ice going on. I'm tempted to block, and not block with the Titan. But I think I'm supposed to block with the Titan. So I guess the Grazer is going to be 3 regardless of when I do it. So I might as well do something like block, take 7. Potentially the Construct could be more damage on a future turn. It's not. That's a quite good draw, actually. So I'll start on the Amulet. Let's try ourselves Summoner's Pact. Force, okay. Transmute. Summoner's Pact. Triad. go for lethal. Okay, we got there that game. We got lucky they didn't have a violent outburst the turn they brazen borrowed. We'll be on the draw here. We know they're going for forces. We could play around that more, but I don't think that's a good idea. I think I'm just going to submit. This hand's interesting. Feels a little slow, but it is pretty guaranteed to make a turn 4 Titan. I feel like I have a lot of draws that can make this hand good. If I draw Grazer, it's amazing. If I draw Amulet, it's good. If I draw an untapped... If I draw a land that's not a bounce land, I can Elder onto... I'm going to give it a shot. It may be wrong, it may be too greedy, but I really like how well this hand lines up against Force of Vigor. That's not a draw we wanted. We can still draw our way out of this if we can draw an untapped green source. That would be good. But that was not a good turn 2. Ice, okay. Well... Even... Yeah, I think I'm going to discard Celestia Sanctuary. It may seem strange because that's our 6th mana for Titan, but so is Sakura Tribe Elder, and I'd really like an untapped land. Otherwise, it's not really much difference. So if we can get an untapped land, I'd be very happy. This is a scary attack, but I suppose if they're playing a shock effect on the Dryad, they're not playing another 2 Rhinos. Interesting. We're dead to most things. Okay, let's think this out. I don't think there's any way we can beat a Brazen Borrower. I guess Karn beats Brazen Borrower, but it loses to Force of Negation. So maybe the correct play is to lead on Summoner's Pact. And then if the Pact resolves, we Karn. But then next turn we're paying for Pact. We could lose to Blood Moon. I think Karn only loses to Force of Negation, whereas Titan loses to Brazen Borrower, Force of Vigor, like lots of different things. Of course. Guessed wrong. Okay. And we lose. Guess I should have gone for the Titan. Tricky, because, like, I don't even know how many Force of Negations they have in post board, because they're bringing in a lot of cards against me, and a lot of their cards in the main deck are quite good, like Fire Ice. I know they're bringing in Blood Moons, they're bringing in Force of Vigors. I've seen they've left in the Bone Crusher Giants, they've left in the Fire Ice, so it's like, what exactly are they cutting to make room for these Force of Vigors and Blood Moons? Hard to tell. But I guess they had the Force of Negation, so maybe I was supposed to lead on Summoner's Pact still, though. If I lead on Summoner's Pact, maybe they Force of Negation the Summoner's Pact, and then I get to Karn, and I get to blow up the Rhinos. It's a tricky call. That's a tricky situation to think about. Really interesting. All right, see everyone next round.